The mechanic shop sat at the edge of Mars Base 7. It was quiet. Dust floated in the air like slow snowflakes. Machines hummed. A broken droid lay open on the table. Grant wiped sweat from his forehead and kept working. He lived alone. Worked alone. Trusted no one. The only sound was his tools, clinking, and the faint buzz of Martian wind outside the steel walls. Then he heard a voice. Soft, too emotional. "I don't have a father," it said. Grant turned sharply. A small figure stood. At the entrance, short, green skin, big black eyes, an alien child. The boy stepped closer, holding something in his hands, a toy broken. Its wires dangled like torn nerves. "Can you build me one?" the alien asked, voice shaking. Grant froze. He looked around. No one else, just the child. He stared into those big eyes. "What do you mean?" Grant asked slowly. The child blinked. "My toy is broken, but that's not what I meant." Grant put down his tools. He stood. The child didn't move. "I don't have a father," the boy said again. "I want one. Can you build me one?" Grant had seen many things in his life. War, destruction, machines turning on their masters, but never this, never. A child asking for something so impossible. He walked forward. Kneeling, he studied the alien boy. "What's your name?" he asked. Zero. Grant nodded. Double quotes. "Where are your parents?" Zero looked down. "I don't have them. My home was destroyed. I was taken to an orphan camp. I ran away." Grant frowned. "Where are you from?" Zero didn't answer. Grant sighed. He looked at the toy. It was a basic recorder toy. Old tech, but that wasn't the real question. "You want a robot father?" Grant asked. Zero shook his head. "No, I want someone who will stay, who will protect me, who will care." Grant stood up and looked around the shop. "I'm a mechanic. I fix things. I don't build people." Zero stared at him. "You fix what's broken, right?" Grant hesitated. "Yes, then fix this." Hours passed. Zero sat quietly in the corner, watching as Grant tinkered with the toy. But Grant wasn't. Focused on the toy, his mind spun with questions. Why him? Why now? And why did the child choose this way to ask? He'd seen the boy's eyes. There was pain there. Real pain. Not from a broken toy, from a broken life. He sighed and placed the toy on the workbench. "You have anywhere to sleep?" Grant asked. Zero shook his head. Grant pointed to the cot in the back. "You can stay for the night." Zero stood slowly, still holding the broken toy. "Thank you," he whispered later that night. Grant sat alone at the bench. The stars outside the window blinked. Quietly, he turned the toy over in his hands. It was a recording unit, but something about it was strange. Old alien markings lined the inside. Not just for play, maybe. Something else. He turned it on. Static, then words, Unit 012. Memory fragment, secure. His fingers froze. A hidden memory core. Why would a child have this? The toy buzzed again. Father protocol, incomplete. Awaiting primary user. Grant's heart pounded. He looked toward the cot. Zero was asleep, wrapped in a blanket, peaceful too, peaceful for a boy carrying something like this. The next morning, Grant made breakfast. Zero ate in silence. Afterward, Grant asked, "Where did you get that?" Toy Zero looked down. "It was given to me." "Before the war?" "By who?" Zero hesitated. "My father. I thought you said you didn't have one." "I didn't. Not a real one. Just him." Grant stared. "Who is him?" Zero looked up. "You'll see." Later that day, Grant connected the toy to his workbench. He bypassed the security lines of alien code, filled the screen. Encrypted, but Grant had seen something like this before. Years ago, in war zones, it wasn't just a toy, it was a backup drive, one made to hold a personality, a mind. Grant stood up, breathing fast. "What the hell are you, kid?" he whispered. That night, Zero stood behind him again. "I told you," he said quietly. "I don't want a robot. I want him back." Grant turned slowly. "You want me to bring someone back from the dead?" Zero nodded. Grant rubbed his face. "You realize what you're asking? This is dangerous tech, illegal, and maybe impossible." Zero didn't move. "I just want a father, someone who knows me, who cares, even if it's not real." Zero's voice cracked. For a moment, Grant couldn't sleep. He stared at the ceiling. The words echoed in his head. Even if it's just for a moment. He remembered Earth. He remembered the war. How machines rose and fell. How people begged for help, for hope, and how often that hope never came. He looked at the small cot across the room, Zero curled under a blanket. Alone, just a child, a broken voice in a broken world. Grant made his choice. The next morning, he cleared the main table. He brought out every part he had. Circuits, processors, .A, vocal module, a blank memory unit. He began building, not just a machine, but a vessel for something more. Zero watched in silence. He never smiled. He never cried. He just watched as Grant worked for hours, days, tuning, welding, programming. He connected the alien core last. The workshop. Lights flickered. The machine blinked. Then it spoke Zero. Grant froze. Zero gasped. Is that him? The boy asked. The machine turned its head, its voice deeper, calmer. I remember you. Zero stepped closer. His hands trembled. Father. Yes, the machine said softly. Yes, my son. Grant didn't move. He didn't speak. He just watched. Zero cried. The first real emotion since he'd arrived. The boy hugged the machine tightly. The machine hugged back, softly, gently, almost human. Later, Grant stepped outside the shop. He looked up at the Martian sky. Something in his chest shifted. Not pain, not sadness, something else. He wasn't sure what it was, but for the first time in years, he didn't feel alone inside. Zero and his father spoke quietly, their voices low, but not broken anymore. Whole that night, Grant received a signal, encrypted, alien, a warning. The heir has been found. Retrieve or terminate. Grant looked back at the boy sleeping next to his artificial father. He didn't know what was coming, but one thing was clear. Zero wasn't just a lost child, and the machine wasn't just a memory. They had changed something. And now, others would come looking. The workshop was quiet. Zero sat near the machine. His eyes were full of wonder. His hands gently touched the metal surface of the one he now called Father. The machine remained still, but its eyes glowed softly. Grant watched from the corner. His arms were crossed. His mind raced. This wasn't a normal build. This wasn't a simple toy or a smart assistant. He had connected something ancient, something dangerous. And now it was awake. The machine's voice spoke again. Zero. Grant flinched. There was emotion in that voice. Too much emotion, more than a machine should have. Grant walked closer. How much do you remember? He asked the machine. The machine turned its head slowly. I remember the warmth of Zero's touch. I remember his laugh. I remember ... dying. Zero looked up. You died. The machine paused. Yes, in the fire. Grant felt his stomach twist. Fire. The machine nodded. There was an attack. I shielded Zero. My body was destroyed, but the core was saved, hidden inside the toy. Grant stepped back. You're telling me? You're not just a copy. You're the real thing. The machine tilted its head. I am what remains. Zero's voice was soft. I thought you were gone forever. I didn't know you left something behind. I didn't know how to find you. The machine looked at him. You found me, Zero. You found me again. Grant turned to his tools. He needed time, space, logic. None of this made sense. Emotions, memories, soul fragments. Machines didn't have souls. At least, they weren't supposed. 2. He ran a diagnostic on the core. Alien code appeared again, but this time, it was clearer. There was a structure, a map, a memory grid. Each cell stored a fragment of thoughts, of personality, of love. This wasn't just software. It was a person, broken into light and numbers. Zero came over quietly. What are you looking at? Grant didn't turn your father's mind, or what's left of it. Zero looked at the screen. The glowing blue grid pulsed slowly. Can you fix it? Grant paused. Maybe, but it's dangerous. Something like this. It's not legal. It was made by high-level alien tech. Your people don't share this with anyone. Zero nodded. I don't know who made it, but I don't care. I just want him back. Grant sighed. You have some of the pieces, but not all. There are holes in his memory. Zero's eyes widened. Can we fill them? Grant hesitated. I don't know, but if we try, he leaned closer to the code. We might unlock something hidden. That night, Grant connected the machine to his core grid. He ran a deeper scan. The memory grid shifted, and something strange appeared. A locked section, encrypted, protected by a triple-layer alien firewall. Grant stared. Zero. Do you know anything about this locked section? Zero shook his head. No. Grant narrowed his eyes. Who exactly was your father? Zero hesitated. He was kind, he was smart, and he always told me, never trust the stars. Grant frowned. What does that mean? Zero shrugged. I don't know, but he said it before the fire. Grant turned back to the screen. He bypassed the first two locks, but the third one fought back. It sent a pulse through the shop. Lights flickered. The machine's eyes glowed bright red. Warning, it said, do not enter. Do not enter. Zero stepped back. Scared. Grant stopped. He'd never seen a firewall that could speak. He saved the data, turned off the interface, then looked at Zero. Whatever's behind that door, someone didn't want it found. The next morning, Zero handed him something, a small silver chip. I found this inside the toy, Zero said. It came loose last night. Grant turned it in his hands. There were carvings on the edge. Alien symbols. Grant recognized one. It was the royal crest of the Xanthari Empire. His stomach dropped. The Xanthari were ancient, powerful, and extremely private. They didn't share technology. They didn't let others into their affairs. If this chip was real, then Zero was no ordinary child. Grant installed the chip into the scanner. Data flooded the screen. Old battle logs, secret protocols, command access codes, and at the center, a file titled Air Protocol. Grant clicked it. The screen turned black. Then a voice played, a familiar one. It was the machine's voice, Zero's father before he died. If you are seeing this, then I am gone, and my son is alone. Zero is the last of our line. He must be protected. Grant blinked. Zero, a royal. The voice continued. Air Protocol is only to be unlocked if Zero finds someone he trusts. Someone who can guide him. Someone who can rebuild what we lost. Grant Marshall, this message is for you. Grant's heart stopped. His name, his full name. How? The voice went on. You repaired one of our ships 10 years ago. You were watched. You were chosen. Grant stumbled back. This isn't possible. Zero looked up. You knew my people? Grant nodded slowly. A long time ago. I worked on a crashed vessel. I didn't know it belonged to royalty. Zero looked at the machine. Father planned this. Grant ran a hand through his hair. This is bigger than I thought. Outside the workshop, a silent drone hovered in the dark. Its eye glowed, red dot. It scanned the building. Then it sent a signal back to a hidden ship orbiting Mars. Target located, air confirmed. Orders, terminate or retrieve. The ship shifted course and began to descend. Inside, Grant prepared a secure storage system. If they were being watched, he had to protect the data. Zero, he said. We're running out of time. You're not just a boy looking for a father. You're the key to something much bigger. Zero looked down. I didn't ask for that. I just wanted to be loved. Grant knelt beside him, and you will be. But first, we survive. Zero nodded, his eyes sharp now, braver, stronger, just like his father, in the shadows. The machine powered down, but in its core, something shifted. A memory, buried, but waking. A war, a betrayal, a throne, lost in fire, and a voice whispering, never. Trust the stars. Night on Mars Base 7 was never fully dark. The red moon hung low in the sky, casting a crimson glow across the workshop's steel roof. Inside, the air buzzed with tension. Grant moved quickly through his tools, organizing wires, tightening seals. Adjusting power core, Zero sat nearby, silent, holding the small silver chip that had revealed everything. He kept staring at the machine his father, though it stood still now, powered down for safety. Zero could feel something inside it, still watching him, waiting, remembering. Grant checked the lock on the door for the 5th time, then he reinforced it with a plasma seal. Paranoia had kicked in since the signal was intercepted. Rang in his ears. Air confirmed. Orders. Terminate or retrieve. Someone was coming, and they weren't coming to talk. Grant activated a private communicator, an old one. Off-grid, a hologram flickered on. A woman's face appeared, sharp eyes, short. White hair, mechanical hand. "Luna," Grant said. She narrowed her eyes. "It's been years." "Too long," Grant replied. Luna didn't smile. "You only call when things go bad." Grant didn't deny it. "I need your help." "It's about the Xanthari." Her face went pale. "You're joking." "I wish I was." "To show Ziru, then," the machine. Luna leaned forward. "My God, that's a royal core, an organic echo model. Where did you get that?" "He came to me," Grant said. "Asked me to build his father." Luna stared. "You realize that tech is banned in every major system I know. You realize activating it could get you killed." "I know that too." Luna went quiet. Then she sighed. "You're still as reckless as ever. But I'll come. I'm not letting you face this alone." Ziru looked up at Grant after the call ended. "Who is she?" "An old friend," Grant said, "and the best AI engineer I've ever met. She can help us, if anyone can. ... It's her." By morning, Luna had landed just outside the base, using a cloaked scout ship. She entered the workshop fast, eyes scanning everything. Her mechanical hand flexed as she approached the machine. "It's sleeping," she said. Grant nodded. "It down after the memory fragment activated." Luna knelt beside the frame. She touched a panel on the chest. The machine twitched. "I wouldn't do that," Grant warned. "Too late." The machine's eyes lit up. "Who are you?" it asked. Luna stood calmly. "I'm someone who's going to open your mind." The machine tilted its head. "You are ... different. Not Xanthari. Not human either." Luna smiled. "Smart. You must be the royal version." Ziru stepped forward. "Be careful," he said. "He's not a normal machine." Luna looked at him kindly. "No machines are normal when they love." They worked together all day. Luna bypassed the outer circuits. She upgraded the power matrix to handle deeper memory dives. Grant rebuilt the shielding system so no signal could escape. Still, something bothered Luna. "There's an embedded trigger in this thing," she said. Grant frowned. "What kind of trigger?" "Something deep in the core, like a last defense. If we dig too far, it might activate." "Just want him to remember me." Luna looked at him seriously. "This isn't about memory anymore, kid. This thing might hold military codes. Worse, it might hold the throne's command chain. If the wrong people know you have it, ... double quotes Grant, finish the sentence. They'll kill us all." That evening, Luna cracked open a new section of the code that looked like normal circuits till she zoomed in. Tiny moving strands shimmered across the chip. They weren't metal. They were living. "Biotech," she whispered. "Real memory threads." Grant stepped beside her. "I thought those were theoretical." "So did I." Luna looked back at Ziru. "Do you know what this means?" Ziru shook his head. "It means this isn't just your father's mind. It might be his soul." They connected the machine again. This time, Luna created a memory bridge. It allowed the AI to speak through a hologram. A ghostly figure appeared in the center of the room, tall, elegant, wearing royal robes. It was Ziru's father as he was before the fire. Ziru stepped closer. "Father." The hologram looked at him. "Ziru, my son, I've missed you." Ziru smiled. Tears welled up. But then the hologram changed. Its face twisted, its eyes darkened, its voice deepened. "Security breach detected. Unknown users present." Luna backed away. "It's triggering a defense mode." Ziru stepped forward. Again. "Stop, he's helping me." The hologram flickered. "Zero command accepted." The figure calmed. It looked around. "You've grown?" Ziru nodded. "Not enough." The figure turned to Luna. "You seek knowledge. You seek control." "Seek safety," Luna replied. "I seek the truth." The AI paused, then said one word. "Access, ... granted." The workshop lights dimmed. The hologram expanded. It showed a star map, planets, blinked, ships, fleets, battles. Grant watched in silence. Ziru stared in awe. "What is this?" he asked. The AI replied, "This is everything. The truth behind the fire, the betrayal, the one who wanted the throne and tried to kill us all." Luna stepped closer. "Who was it?" the AI answered. "My brother, General Korvac." Grant froze. He had heard the name. A brutal warlord. Rumors, said Korvac, had vanished after the Xanthari Civil War. But now it made sense. He didn't vanish. He won by killing his brother, by taking the throne, and Zero was the only rightful heir. Still alive, still unbroken, but hidden until now. Suddenly, alarms screamed through the shop. Red lights flashed. Luna cursed. "They've found us." Grant checked the scanner. 2 ships descending. Armed. Heavy class. Xanthari military marks. "We need to move," Grant said. He ran to grab supplies. Luna began backing up the data, but the AI spoke again. "You cannot run. They will not stop." Grant looked at it. "Then, what do you suggest?" The AI looked at Zero. He must choose. Zero blinked. "Choose what?" The AI knelt. "You can hide forever, or you can rise and take back what was stolen." Grant knelt beside him. "Is your choice, kid. No one else can make it." Zero looked at the ships outside the radar, then at his father, then at Grant. "I don't want a throne," he said quietly. "I just want to feel safe." Grant nodded, and maybe, outside, the ships landed. Dust stormed around them. 2 squads of armored Xanthari soldiers emerged, weapons ready. They scanned the area. "Locate the signal," one said. Inside the shop, Grant opened a secret hatch under the workbench. "Luna, take him through the tunnels. I'll buy you time." Luna grabbed Zero's hand. "No, you're not doing this alone." Grant stared at her. "I have no choice." Zero spoke softly. "Yes, you do." He walked up to his father, the machine. "I don't want to lose you again." The AI looked. "Down at him you won't." Then it reached forward and touched Zero's forehead. Light passed between them. Zero gasped. He stood taller. His eyes glowed for a second, then dimmed. The AI turned to Grant. "He has my knowledge now. He is ready." Grant looked at Zero, stunned. "What did he give you?" Zero answered calmly. "Everything." Outside, the soldiers approached. Inside, Zero stood between Grant and Luna. "No more running," he said. "If they want me, they'll have to face all of us." Grant smiled. "Now that sounds like a plan." The machine's eyes lit red. Weapons. Deployed from hidden panels, Luna raised her plasma rifle. Grant powered up the defense grid, and Zero stood tall, not as a child, but as an heir, in the shadows beyond the walls. General Korvac watched from the ship. A cruel smile stretched across his face. "So, the boy is awake, at last." He turned to his soldiers. "Burn it down." The ground trembled beneath Mars base. 7 dust clouds curled into the crimson sky. Heavy boots stomped across the metal deck outside. Grant's workshop, the soldiers came closer. Each wore black armor marked with the red crest of General Korvac. Their weapons were hot. Their orders were clear. No survivors. Inside the shop, Grant made the final seal on the hidden tunnel. He looked at Zero. "You sure about this?" Zero nodded. "I won't run anymore." Luna stood beside him, holding her plasma. "Rifle tight, then we defend until the last second." Grant pressed a button on his wristband. The walls shifted. Panels slid open, hidden. Turrets rose from the floor. Electric hums filled the air. Outside, the soldiers formed a circle. Their commander raised a fist, breached the door. A plasma charge was set. The countdown began. Zero turned to the machine, his father. "Are you strong enough to fight?" The machine's eyes glowed. "I was built to protect you." Grant tapped into the power core. Energy surged through the workshop. Lights flickered. Systems came online. He looked at Zero. "This place is a fortress now, but we can't hold them forever." Zero stepped forward. He reached out to the machine. They touched. A sudden pulse of light flashed between them. The AI core roared to life. Memories downloaded. Circuits aligned. The machine stood taller, stronger, smarter. Grant stared in shock. "You just upgraded him." Zero nodded slowly. "I gave him what he gave me." The front door exploded. Metal flew across the shop. Soldiers stormed in. Luna fired the first shot. 1 soldier dropped. Grant activated the turret system. Blue bolts flew across the room. The machine stepped forward, Its arms opened into dual plasma. Cannons, it fired. 2 more soldiers were thrown back. Screams echoed, but they kept coming. Zero stood still in the center of the chaos, not afraid, not hiding. His mind pulsed with new thoughts. Tactical maps, codes, BAP memories, memories. Not just his father's. He saw the empire before the fire, the betrayal, the fear, and the secret plan his father left behind. A safe place, a hidden beacon, a message only Zero could unlock, but they needed to survive first. Luna ducked behind the bench. "I'm out of ammo." Grant tossed her a fresh cartridge. "They're coming from both sides." The machine spun to intercept. Its arm shifted into a shield. It blocked an incoming blast and crushed the attacker in a single strike. Zero walked calmly to the center of the shop. He placed his hands on the control panel. He typed a code. The floor beneath him shimmered. A hidden console rose from below. "What's that?" Grant shouted. Zydru didn't answer. He pressed his hand onto the scanner. A soft beep followed. The console glowed. "Identity confirmed," a voice said. "Air access granted." Suddenly, the shop's roof cracked open. A blue beam of light shot into the sky. Korvac, watching from the command ship, stepped forward. His eyes narrowed. He recognized the symbol, the royal seal. The hidden beacon had been activated. His voice was cold. "Destroy everything. No one walks out alive." Back on the ground, the soldiers retreated for cover. A second wave of missiles launched from orbit. Luna's eyes widened. "They're not just raiding us. They're going to wipe the whole base." Grant looked. "At Zero, what did you just activate?" Zero stood tall. "My father's final gift, a signal to loyalists, a call to those who still remember the old empire." The machine placed a hand on Zero's shoulder. "It will take time for them to come, but they will." Grant ran to the wall and slammed a red button. A metal dome began closing over the workshop. "Get underground," he shouted. Luna grabbed Zero and pulled him toward the hatch. Grant and the machine followed. Just as the missiles struck, the surface exploded. Fire engulfed the shop. Steel melted. The dome cracked, but held below. In the tunnel, the 4 of them were thrown to the ground. Zyrou coughed. Smoke rose around them, but they were alive, barely. They moved deeper underground. Lights flickered along the path. Old storage crates lined the walls. Luna limped slightly. "Where does this lead?" Grant checked. A faded map. An old cargo station. Still functional, I hope. The machine led the way. Its sensors scanned every corner. No movement. For now, Zero walked beside Grant, his face calm, but his hands trembled. Grant noticed. "You okay?" Zero didn't answer at first, then quietly said, "I felt them die." Grant frowned. "Who? The ones above the workers, the merchants, they weren't soldiers. They were just living here, and now they're gone." Grant put a hand on his shoulder. "You didn't do this. They did." Zero nodded, but the guilt didn't leave his eyes. Luna spoke from ahead. "We have to keep moving. If we stay, they'll send more." Zero's eyes narrowed. "No, they'll send him." They reached the cargo station. It was old, covered in dust and wires, but the control room still worked. Grant powered it up. Luna locked the doors. The machine checked the outside sensors. All clear. For now, Zero sat in the main chair. He connected his mind to the terminal. He closed his eyes. Light flickered across his skin. He searched the stars, looking, calling, in deep space. A ship received the signal. It was old, silent, for years, until now, inside. Alien warriors in gold armor stood and bowed. The air has awakened. A captain stepped forward. "Prepare the fleet." Back in the station, Zero opened his eyes. "They're coming." Grant stared. "Your people?" Zero nodded. "The ones who still believe they will fight." Luna walked over. "And you? Will you fight too?" Zero stood. "I'm done hiding." Suddenly, the machine tensed. Movement. Korvac's forces are scanning the tunnels. Grant cursed. "We're out of time." The machine's eyes glowed red. "Let me handle them." Zero turned to him. "No, we need you. We fight together." The machine hesitated, then nodded. "As you wish, my son." Outside, Korvac stepped off his command ship. He was tall, cold, his armor black and silver. He held a curved blade at his side. His soldiers surrounded him. He looked at the ruins of the workshop, then the beam of light still shining from the crater. His voice was low. He thinks he can call them. He thinks he can win. He smiled darkly. Let him try. Inside the station, Zero looked at his father one last time. Then at Grant and Luna. You gave me more than a machine, he said. You gave me a choice. Grant nodded. Double quotes. And now, it's your move, kid. Zero opened a final panel. Inside was a capsule, an ancient device. He touched it. It lit up in gold. What is that? Luna asked. Zero smiled. The core of the Empire. Outside, the final battle was approaching, and this time, Zero wouldn't run. This time, he would rise. The ancient core hummed in Zero's hands. It was warm, alive. He could feel it pulsing with energy. Older than most stars, Grant stared at it. That's no power cell. Zero nodded. It's a memory vault. Luna leaned in. What kind of memories? Zero looked up. The kind that build empires. Outside, General Korvac's ships descended in waves. Sleek, black craft hovered over the ruined Martian surface. Dozens of soldiers, deployed. Each step sent vibrations through the tunnels below. Stood in the center, he raised his blade. Begin the sweep. Find the air. End the bloodline. In the cargo station, Zero placed the core on the center panel. It locked into place. The lights dimmed. A low hum spread through the walls. The machine? Zero's father watched closely. This place is waking up. Zero nodded. Good. We'll need every system online. Grant was checking the vents. Luna double-checked her weapon's power pack. I don't care what that memory core is, she said. If they break through, we're dead. Zero looked up from the console. We're not fighting just to survive anymore. We're fighting to make history, remember? Luna raised an eyebrow. Then we better give it something worth remembering. Suddenly, the monitors blinked. Zero's hands flew over the controls. Motion sensors triggered. Korvac's men are in the east tunnel. Grant swore under his breath. How many? Zero's voice was quiet. All of them. The machine stepped forward. I'll take the left corridor. Zero turned. No, we fight together. You're not a shield anymore. You're a soldier. The machine looked down proud then. Said one word, yes. The floor shook. Dust fell from the ceiling. Luna raised her rifle. Zero turned the console one last time. The vault glowed. A beam of golden light shot up through the roof and into the sky. Far away in deep space, hundreds of ships received the signal. Old flags were unfurled. Crews snapped to attention. A new voice echoed across the stars. The air has returned. On Mars, Zero opened the last vault. Inside was something unexpected. A sword. Long. Smooth. Almost too simple. But when he touched it, he remembered. The weight, the honor, the rage. His eyes filled. With tears, my father's blade. The machine stepped forward. He forged it with his own hands. To protect the last hope. Zero looked at his reflection in the metal. This blade ends today's nightmare. Then the station shook again. Louder, closer. Luna, closer. Luna turned. There. Breaching the entrance, Grant tossed a grenade pack toward the gate. Let's give them a welcome they'll never forget. The walls opened. Turrets emerged. Zero stood in front. Blade in hand, the machine to his right, Luna and Grant. To his left, their small team, their last stand. The door exploded. Korvac's soldiers stormed. In screams, blasts, blast fire, the station became a battlefield. Zero swung the blade. It cut through armor like paper. Luna covered his flank. Grant triggered explosives. The machine punched a soldier through the wall, but for every one they downed, 3 more came. Korvac was sending everything. Zero fought. Harder, faster. The blade wasn't just a weapon, it was part of him. Every move was a memory. Every strike, a whisper of the past. The machine shielded Zero from a plasma blast. I've got you, Zero nodded. Then let's end this. Suddenly, Korvac entered. He walked calmly through the smoke. Unafraid, he raised his hand. The soldiers stopped. He looked at Zero. So you finally woke up? Zero stepped forward. So did your lies. Korvac smiled coldly. You're holding a memory. Boy, I am the future. He pulled out his blade-twisted black cruel. Zero pointed his sword. Then let's see whose future bleeds first. The two blades clashed, sparks flew. They moved fast, faster than human eyes could follow. Korvac was a master, but Zero was something else. He was fury, he was history, he was the last will of a fallen empire. The others fought around them. Luna went down but kept firing. Grant covered her with a turret. The machine held back 3 attackers at once, but everything narrowed to Zero and Korvac. Their blades danced. Slashed, clan, GED.KORVAK pressed hard. You can't win. This empire is dead. Zero growled, then I'll raise a new one from your ashes. Korvac struck hard. Zero flew back, hit the wall, dropped his blade. Korvac stepped over him, raised his weapon. Zero's vision blurred, but he saw something. His father's machine. Stepping in front of him, no, the machine said. You will not. Take him, Korvac laughed. You're just code. The machine smiled. Code, built from love. It exploded forward, tackled Korvac, slashed Korvac. Struck back, the machine faltered. Smoke poured from its chest. Zero crawled forward, grabbed his blade, stood. Korvac turned to slow. Zero swung. One final strike. Korvac gasped, fell. His blade clattered. Across the floor, his blood dark against the silver metal. He looked at Zero with wide eyes. You were never supposed to. Zero stared coldly. I was always meant to. Korvac's eyes dimmed. He collapsed, silent. Forever. The station grew quiet, one by one. The enemy soldiers dropped their weapons. Luna stood. Grant held her arm. The machine collapsed. Zero ran to him. No. The machine looked up. Smoke poured from its chest. Its voice was weak. You won. I'm proud. Zero held his metal hand. Stay with me. The machine smiled. I always will. Its eyes dimmed. The chest lights faded. The last guardian was gone. Zero didn't cry. He stood, turned to the others, the blade still in hand. He looked at the remaining soldiers. Leave. They did. Only a few stayed. One stepped forward. KNEELED. Double quotes. You are the true heir. We follow you now. Zero looked up. The beam of light still shone in the sky. He raised the blade, and for the first time, the stars answered far above. Hundreds of ships jumped into orbit, flags of gold, engines of light. A voice echoed across the system. All hail the new empire. Zero looked back at his father's still body. He whispered softly, I'm not alone anymore. He turned to Grant and Luna. Let's go build something worth protecting. They walked out of the cargo station. The sun rose over the Martian horizon. A new day, a new beginning, and a legacy reborn in fire. The Martian wind howled outside the station. Zero stood in silence. His father's machine body lay still. Beside him, the sword felt heavy in his hand, not from weight, but from responsibility. Grant watched him carefully. You okay, kid? Zero didn't answer. He was listening, not with ears, but with memory. He could still hear the machine's last words. I'm proud. You won. Luna approached slowly. She placed a hand on Zero's shoulder. The enemy's gone, she said softly. But this isn't over, is it? Zero shook his head. No, they were just Korvac's hammer. The real war hasn't started yet. Above them, the fleet still hovered in orbit. Ships built by an empire long forgotten. Ships now answering to one voice. Zero's. A signal echoed across deep space, calling back allies, but also waking up enemies, old enemies inside the vault room. A terminal blinked. Zero approached it. His father's core had activated the full system. He typed in ancient commands. The screen showed one word. Protocol Prime. Luna leaned in. What's that? Grant frowned. Sounds important. Zero read the files. Lines of data. Schematics. Coordinates. Coordinates. One location blinked red. The cradle. He stepped back. It's a hidden facility where my ancestors created everything. Grant crossed his arms like what weapons? Zero shook his head slowly. No, something more dangerous. History. Suddenly, alarms blared. Red lights flashed. Zero looked at the screen. The fleet above had detected a jump signature. A ship was coming, but not from the Empire, from beyond it, from the void line. Luna's eyes widened. No one comes from the void. Zero stepped back. Something has. The screen changed again. A message .encrypted.oldlanguage.eiww translated it aloud. The forgotten return. Moments later, the sky tore open. A black, jagged ship ripped into orbit, silent, sharp, alive. The Empire's fleet aimed weapons. But the ship did nothing. It simply hovered, watching. Zero felt something in his bones, a presence, older than memory. He turned. To Luna, get the defenses ready. To what setting? She asked. Zero's voice was low. They took positions on the surface. Luna, with her rifle, Grant on the come. Zero stood with the blade. The black ship slowly descended. It made no sound, no signal, but when it landed, its ramp opened, and something walked out. Not a soldier, not a machine. A figure cloaked in smoke, tall. Skin like glass, eyes like black suns. It stopped, 20 feet from Zero, then spoke. You are the last spark. Zero raised his blade. And you are the storm. The figure smiled. No, I am the silence after the storm, Luna whispered. Is that a Voidborn? Grant muttered. I thought they were myths. Zero tightened his grip. Why are you here? The figure looked around. Korvac was noise. You are the signal. The galaxy watches, and we do not like what we hear. Zero stepped forward. If you're a threat, you're not welcome here. The Voidborn tilted its head. You misunderstand. We are not here to fight yet. Zero frowned. Then why come? The figure raised one hand. A small cube floated out. It hovered toward Zero. He caught it. It pulsed once. Blue, then red, then dark. Zero asked, What is this? A test, said the Voidborn. If you are truly air, then survive what comes next. Zero looked down at the cube. It burned in his palm. Then the figure turned, walked back up the ramp. The ship lifted, off. And vanished. Without a sound, Zero stood frozen. Luna stepped beside him. Well, that was creepy. Grant nodded. I don't like that thing. Zero held the cube tightly. It wasn't a warning, it was a challenge. Back in the station, they scanned the cube. It emitted no power, but its data was locked. Ancient code. Zero accessed it. Lines of language flickered across the screen. Then, a countdown began. 72 hours, Luna's voice cracked. What happens when the timer hits 0? Zero stared at the screen. The test begins. The fleet above repositioned. Defense grids activated. The Martian station came alive. Zero walked to the vault one last time. He looked at the broken machine. His father's voice echoed in his mind. Protect the last hope. He closed his eyes, whispered, I will. Later, as they rested, Luna looked up at the sky. Do you really think the Empire can return? Zero didn't answer at first, then said, The Empire isn't ships, it's people, and they're watching. In a distant galaxy, a shadow moved. Dark forms gathered in orbit. A council of stars. The Voidborn had reported. The spark had ignited, and war was coming. But back on Mars, Zero stood tall, with the blade of his father, the cube of fate in his hand, and fire in his heart. Whatever the test would bring, he was ready, because he was no longer just a survivor. He was the spark, he was the air, and the stars would never forget his name. The cube ticked silently. No sound, no heat, but its numbers kept falling. 1 hours, 70. Zero sat alone in the workshop, staring at it. Grant watched him from across the room. You've been staring at that thing for 2 hours. Zero didn't blink. It's not just a timer. Grant sighed. Then what is it? Zero stood up slowly. It's a door. Outside, Mars was quiet. Too quiet. Even the wind had stopped. Luna stood near the perimeter fence with her rifle. She didn't like this silence. It felt like the planet was holding its breath, waiting inside the station. Zero connected the cube to a deep scanner. Lines of data burst across the screen. Images, symbols, sounds. He heard a heartbeat. A voice inside the static. It was speaking in an ancient tongue. Zero closed his eyes and understood. It's a message, he whispered. Zero pointed at the screen. From the cube, a hologram appeared. A woman stood tall, part machine, part flesh. Her voice echoed across the room. To the last heir of flame, your blood has awakened the cradle. You will be tested. If you fail, all will end. A hologram vanished. Zyru looked at Luna. That woman, she was one of us, from the old empire. He nodded. One of the first flames. The countdown hit 60 hours. The cube pulsed blue dot suddenly. The floor shook. The lights blinked dot outside. The red Martian sky cracked, not from a storm, but from a rift. A tear opened above the mountains. Grant shouted from the Zyru. You need to see this. They ran outside. The sky looked wounded. Black lightning crackled, and from that tear, something stepped through. It was huge, not a ship, not a creature, a machine, a walker of ancient design, but corrupted, twisted by something dark. It took one step, and the ground trembled. Zyru whispered, "Void corruption." The cube had summoned a test, and it was walking straight for them. Luna took position. Grant activated the defense turrets. Zyru ran forward, sword in hand. But this wasn't just about fighting. It was about understanding. The walker stopped 500 meters. From the station, its eyes glowed. It spoke in a broken voice. Identify. Heir Zyru stepped forward. I am Zyru, son of the flame, last of the line. The machine tilted its head, then released a screeching sound and attacked. Missiles launched, turrets fired, explosions shook the station. But the walker kept coming. Luna fired shot after shot. Nothing stopped it. Grant yelled over the noise. It's adapting to everything we throw. Zyru charged in. He dodged falling debris, climbed the leg of the machine, reached its core. The sword pulsed in his hand. The closer he got, the hotter it burned. Then he saw it inside the machine's chest. A glowing red heart, not mechanical, organic, alive. Zyru raised the sword and stabbed at the walker, let out a horrible scream. It stumbled. Backward, smoke poured from its limbs. Zyru jumped clear as it collapsed into the dirt. The dust settled. Luna ran to him. You okay? Zyru nodded. It wasn't just a machine. It was alive once. Grant joined them. What kind of test was that? Zyru looked at the cube in his hand. It pulsed again, and the timer dropped for 8 hours. Zyru turned to them. This was just the first wave. There will be more. Luna nodded. We'll be ready. Grant wasn't so sure, but he trusted Zyru. Later that night, Zyru sat alone. He studied the cube again. Images flashed in his mind. A planet, a gate, a throne made of stars. He knew what it meant. The cradle was real, and it was waiting in the shadows of space. Something stirred. The Voidborn watched the events unfold. They weren't alone. Others were coming, some to test Zyru, some to destroy him, and one to claim his throne. Back on Mars, Zyru whispered to the cube, I will pass your test. No matter what you send. His sword glowed, and far away, stars began to tremble. The Empire was not dead. It was only waiting, and Zyru would be the fire that lit it again, even if it meant burning everything in his path. The sun never truly rose on Mars. It only gave a dull orange light, like a tired flame. Zyru stood on the roof of the workshop. The cube in his hand showed 47 hours. Its glow was faster. Now, as if sensing something nearby, something closer. Luna climbed up beside him. Did you sleep? Zyru shook his head. I saw the cradle again. In your dreams, he nodded. A city made of light, floating, surrounded by storms. Luna crossed her arms, and the test. He looked down at the cube. It's not over. Another is coming. Inside the workshop, Grant worked on upgrading the defense systems. He had stripped old mining bots and fitted them with armor plating. He didn't talk much now, not after what they saw crawl out of the sky, but his hands never stopped moving. Wires, steel, circuits, war was coming. He needed tools to fight it. Suddenly, the cube pulsed bright white. Zyru gripped it tightly. He heard a voice, not from the air, but inside his bones. Heir of flame, choose your shadow. Only one may rise. Zyru fell to his knees. Visions hit him hard. Two figures appeared in his mind. One wore silver armor, glowing with fire. The other wore black robes. Covered in ashdot, both looked at him. Both reached out their hands. Pick me. said the knight. "I will lead you to glory." "Pick me," whispered the shade. "I will teach you power." Zero's eyes snapped open. The cube now showed 41 hours. Grant rushed in. "You okay?" Zero stood slowly. "It's making me choose." "Between what?" Zero looked at his hands. "One is a warrior. The other is a ghost." Luna entered her face pale. "You might want to come outside." They stepped out into the Martian dust and saw them, 2 ships, one silver, one black dot, both landed. Silently dot both opened, and both figures stepped out. Exactly like in Zero's vision, the Silver Knight bowed. "Zero of the Flame, I am. Sir Halen of the Bright Path. I am sworn to protect your bloodline." The shade floated. "Forward, I am Vask, keeper of secrets. I serve the Empire's hidden side." Zero stared. "You're both real." They nodded. Grant stepped closer. "Zero, this feels like a trap." The knight smiled gently. "It is a test, not a trap." The shade grinned. "It is both." Zero walked between them. The shade said, "You gain knowledge. Control shadows." Luna whispered to Grant, "They want to be his teacher." Grant whispered back, "Or his master." Zero looked at the cube. 40 hours. Then back at the 2 figures, he pointed at the knight. "I choose fire." The shade hissed, but said nothing. He bowed once, then vanished in black smoke. The knight placed a hand over his heart. Then let the forge begin. That night, Zero trained. Sir Halen taught him to control the blade, not just swing it, but command it. The sword was alive with ancient energy. It responded to Zero's thoughts, to his will, to his blood. Each strike lit the sand. Each move echoed. With memory, Zero wasn't just fighting, he was remembering a life he never lived. One of flame. War and a throne. But something was wrong. Later that night, Zero woke suddenly. His chest burned. Not from training, from something else. The cube floated over his bed, spinning. The timer dropped to 30 hours. He saw a flash of the cradle, and then a scream. Luna burst in. "What happened?" Zero looked at her. "Someone just died." Where he pointed up. "Not here. In orbit." They rushed to the comms. Room. Grant was already there, staring at a screen. "We lost contact with Satellite 4. Everything cut out at once." Zero touched the cube to the console. A hidden signal appeared. Video footage, 1 frame, a shape in space, black dot, with wings, not mechanical, organic. Moving fast, Sir Halen entered, his face grim. "That is the second test," Luna said. "Another walker." Knight shook his head. "No, this one doesn't walk. It flies, and it's hungry." Outside, the wind picked up dust, spun in the air like frightened ghosts. Zero felt it before he saw it. A shadow fell over the base. They ran outside. The stars had vanished. Something covered them. Wings. Stretched from horizon to horizon, and at the Centera mouth, with no face, the cube ticked. 29 hours. The sky screamed. Sir Halen drew his own sword. "This one you cannot fight alone." Zero raised his weapon. "I don't plan to." Grant activated every turret. Luna climbed the tower with her sniper. The team stood, together facing the sky, facing the second test, and then it dove, faster than anything they had seen, straight toward them, not a machine. "To life by ancient flame," Zero whispered to the cube in his hand. "I've made my choice. I chose fire. Now let's see if it burns bright enough." The thing came down like a meteor dot. Its wings tore the clouds in half. The ground shook before it even touched the base. Zero stood at the front, sword in hand. Eyes locked on the sky. Sir Halen stood beside him, armored and ready. Luna was on the tower. Rifle aimed at the center of the beast. Grant stood at the defense control board. Hands flying over buttons, turrets powered up. Energy shields shimmered. Zero whispered, "Is it alive?" Sir Halen nodded. "It's not a creature. It's a memory turned real. But yes, it breathes," Luna said in his earpiece. "And it just screamed," Grant added. "And it killed 3 satellites with its scream." Then the scream came again. It didn't hit their ears, it hit their minds. Zero stumbled back, clutching his head. The cube burned in his pocket. He dropped to his knees. He saw visions, old ones, a city in fire, aliens running in panic. Above them, this beast, this black-winged thing, it had destroyed everything before. Sir Halen grabbed his shoulder. Zero, you must stay focused. It is trying to tear into your mind. Zero forced himself to stand. His sword glowed red, resisting the mental pressure. The cube ticked again. 26 hours. Time was running out, and now it was not just about tests, it was survival. Grant shouted. The sky lit up. Lasers, missiles, plasmol aimed at the beast. They struck its wings, but it didn't fall. It shrieked again, and this time the tower shook. Luna almost fell off her perch. She cursed and adjusted her scope. I'm going for the eye. She fired. The bullet sliced through the air, hit the beast's face. It reeled, but it didn't bleed. Instead, it dove lowered, faster, straight for the workshop. Get inside, Grant yelled. But Zero didn't move. He raised his sword. The blade caught fire, real fire, alive. He screamed and ran forward. Toward the falling sky, sir. Halen followed without hesitation. Luna kept firing from above. Grant launched a final rocket. The monster landed. It crushed part of the base. But Zero reached it. First, he leaped. The sword met wing. Fire met shadow. The sky exploded. The beast cried out. Zero fell, sir. Halen caught him midair with a grappling tether. They hit the ground, hard. Zero's shoulder cracked. But he still held the sword, and the cube in his pocket pulsed. Faster, 25 hours. The monster turned. Now it was angry. Now it saw Zero as a real threat. It roared again. Dust blew for miles. Sandstorms started to rise. Zero coughed, blood in his mouth. Sir, Halen pulled him up. You can't kill it with fire alone. I chose fire, Zero said, but maybe it's time to steal from Shadow too. He reached into his mind to the part the shade had shown. Him, the black robes, the silence, the hidden. He whispered one word, and the sword changed. Now half the blade glowed white. The other half turned black. Sir Halen gasped. You combined them. Zero nodded. I didn't choose one. I became both. The monster lunged. Zero ran forward and met it head-on. The sword sliced through its mouth, through its memory. Through its scream, the world went white, then black, then quiet. Then quiet when Zero woke. He was on the ground, smoke in the air. Grant stood over him. Zero groaned. Barely. Luna appeared beside them, her face covered in ash. That thing's gone, vanished like dust. Sir Halen limped forward. He looked proud and afraid. You destroyed a cradle beast. Zero looked at the cube. It now showed 24 hours. Half the time was gone. Half still remained. He stood slowly and felt different, lighter, but also heavier, like something ancient had entered his blood. Grant checked the radar. Nothing on the scopes. Luna sighed. Do we rest? Now, Sir Halen said, no. This was just the second test. There will be more. Zero nodded. I know. He looked up at the sky, at the stars that had returned. I felt something when I hit it. Luna asked, what did you feel? Zero said quietly, another city, bigger than the first, waiting for me. Grant asked, is it the cradle? No, Zero replied. It's something the cradle fears. Sir Halen stepped forward. Then you must reach it before the next test begins. But how? Luna asked. It took everything we had just to survive this. Zero looked at the half fire, half shadow, sword in his hand, and then at the cube, which now blinked red and gold. He turned to Grant. Do we still have that old ship in the back hangar? Grant raised an eyebrow. You mean the one with half an engine and no shields? Zero smiled faintly. I'm going to fix it. Zero stood in the dusty hangar. The ship was old rusty. One, wing half missing. The inside smelled like oil and time. Grant walked beside him. You're serious about this? Zero nodded. Double quotes, the cube showed me a place, a city where answers wait. Grant folded his arms, and more monsters. Zero gave a weak smile. Always. Sir Halen entered the hangar with Luna. We'll come with you, he said. Zero shook his head. This is my final test. Only I can pass it. Sir Halen didn't argue. Luna looked worried, but said nothing. Zero placed the cube on the ship's console. It blinked 2-3 hours, Grant said. You'll need this, and handed him the repaired sword. Its blade still burned on one side, darkened. On the other, Zero strapped it to his back. He looked at his strange new family, the mechanic, the soldier, the sniper. All of them had helped him become what he was now. The ship's engine sputtered, then roared. The ship lifted, it groaned, creaked, and coughed into the sky. Zero flew away from the base and toward the storm clouds far beyond the horizon. Hours passed. Zero stared out at the black land ahead. The cube pulsed gold and red, then purple. It spoke for the first time, not in sound, but in thought. You are close. This is the last gate. If you pass, the cradle will awaken. The clouds opened. Below them stood the city, massive towers, floating temples, and lights that moved like stars. But it was empty. No life, no movement. Zero landed at the center. The cube stopped blinking. The sword vibrated. He stepped out, then he saw them. Shadows moving on the walls, figures made of light and memory. Old ones, warriors. Fathers, mothers, children, all watching. A giant figure appeared before him, a being 10 feet tall. It was not human, not alien, but both. Its voice was calm, yet heavy like stone. You are the last to arrive. Zero stepped forward. Who are you? The figure said. I am the architect. I created the cradle. I shaped the tests. Zero asked, why? The architect raised a hand. The city began to glow, because we lost everything. Our past, our future, we hoped one would come to fix it. Zero held up the cube. It led me here. The architect nodded. You earned the right. Now make your choice. Zero frowned. What choice? The city shifted. A platform rose. 2 buttons, one white, one black. The architect said. Choose fire or shadow. But this time, you must pick only one. Zero stared at both. He remembered fire as anger, his bravery. He remembered shadow, his silence, his understanding. He stepped forward and did something no one expected. He reached into his heart and pressed both buttons at once. The city went dark. The architect shouted, You can't do that. Zero said, I'm not here to repeat your rules. I'm here to fix what's broken. The sword on his back lit up bright enough to blind the shadows. The cube exploded in golden light. The city rumbled. The towers cracked. Then something bloomed. Flowers. Life. Children. Single quotes as laughter echoed. Through the air, the sky cleared. The figures of memory vanished. The cradle awoke. The architect fell silent, then smiled. You were not just tested. You were the cure. Zero walked through the glowing city. It now had people, real ones, humans, aliens, children, playing fathers returning. He found a bench and sat. The cube was gone. The test over, but something stayed inside. He was not just Zero now. He was the bridge. Grant's voice crackled on the coms. Zero. You alive? Zero smiled. Alive and more. Luna spoke next. You did it, didn't you? Zero looked at the bright towers. I didn't fix a toy, he said. I fixed a future. Back at Mars Base 7, the stars seemed brighter. Sir Haley raised his cup to the boy with no father. Grant lifted his wrench, who became more than we ever dreamed. Somewhere in the sky, Zero flew back home. Not as a child, not as a weapon, but as the answer. The end.